everyone, hope you're having a good weekend. Next week there's not a ton to do. It might be kind of quiet, but here are some things to work on if you're here. We can harvest more of the lemongrass. You can see I cut it down at the bottom, and already what I've cut has started to regrow, which is kind of funny. But I cut down towards the bottom, and then I cut off all of the leafy part, so you're just left with this kind of reddish part of the stem. And then I put a handful of those in a bag with a write-up that's in there sitting by the scale. Also, we can harvest some of the purple basil, parsley, and the Thai basil. We'll probably pull these out pretty soon and put dill in this bed, so if you want to harvest these pretty aggressively this week, that's fine. Okra is still going strong, so we'll keep harvesting that. You can start harvesting kale in bed 5. I started last week, but I can already see there's some leaves in there that need to be harvested. You want to make sure to harvest down towards the very bottom, like this one I would harvest right here, towards the bottom of the stalk where it meets the plant. And like on this plant, you can see this leaf is huge, and I wait and harvest the big leaves. And you don't want to over harvest the plant, so maybe just like 1 or 2 leaves from each plant. But some of them are ready, some of them aren't, like this little one. See this plant? I would not harvest yet from that one, but this one with the really big leaves I would harvest. This bed in here, which I have labeled bok choy, it's actually tatsoi, it's really eaten up. It almost looks like there's some kind of little caterpillar or even like little pill bugs on here, and I've been picking them off, but they look pretty eaten up. So we'll see what happens this week. We might end up just pulling out this bed and planting something else, because that's not looking good at all. There's some pretty bad caterpillars going on. I was picking some off of the cabbage, the kale, which is here, out in that black pot, in this black pot, and over in the white barrels. Flipping over the leaves, looking on the underside. See if you can find any caterpillars and pick them off by hand and smush them or throw them somewhere. Also, the collards way down in this end bed, whatever that is, 11 maybe. I've been picking them off of there too all week, so if you're here and you wouldn't mind just flipping them over, and I did that today. I didn't really see much. There's probably a couple leaves you can harvest out of this bed too, that don't look so horrible, like on this plant. I would harvest that one and that one. Again, harvesting down close to the base of the plant, so you're getting most of the stalk with the leaf. Let's finish harvesting bed 12, the icicle radishes, and plant in here bib lettuce, which I have sitting under here. I would plant maybe 5. Let's see, that might look too thin. Let's see how it looks, but I would say probably 5 down the outside rows of the bed, and then maybe 4 in the middle. So have it offset. See how that looks. If it looks like really spread out, you can maybe fit in a couple more plants. Let's start with that. I think some of the turnips are starting to be ready. I picked one last week. That one, I mean, it's kind of, yeah, like see this guy over here in this corner. I would say that's probably 2 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches around. So you can kind of look through here. Some of them are still pretty small, but a couple of them are good size. So you could probably find a couple of them out of here to harvest this week. I think I'm gonna probably wait one more week to harvest the sweet potatoes. I'm kind of waiting for the garlic to come in, which should be here soon. So that's something to look forward to. Carrots were resown again last week. If they don't germinate, I'm giving up on carrots and we'll put something else in this bed. There seems to be something eating this dino kale pretty heavily. Like, it's just like the ends of the leaves are gone. But you should be able to harvest some leaves out of here. If they're looking really holy, I would not, like, this is looking like someone just had a nice little meal out of it. But then most of them, you know, some of them are looking really good. I would harvest a couple off of each plant and we'll see what happens with those. Beets, let's thin them out as best you can. I mean, try to gingerly pull them up so you're not pulling up everything around it. But you probably want at least a couple inches around each plant. So hopefully they're getting big enough where you can kind of pick out some of the smaller ones around the bigger ones. We can also get some straw. It's behind the shed in a wheelbarrow, so you can just like bring the wheelbarrow in the garden, and then let's put some around the Swiss chard because this is looking better now in bed 17. And we might as well put. I mean, I have a ton back there. Put some in around the cabbage and in around the dino kale. I harvested a few leaves off the broccoli last week and just put it in like a mixed green bag. So if there are any, you could pick off just a couple of big leaves. Some of these are really eaten up too, like that one. But like that looks nice. That looks nice. You could just harvest one or two leaves off of each plant, and the broccoli is starting to head. So that's good. And then these guys are just hanging out, probably eating half of the garden. Let's harvest some of the chives this week too. I usually just take like a couple of chunks off each plant, like, I don't know, wrap your hand around it and harvest, and we can just take a couple handfuls up there. Let's pull out the husk cherries this week in bed 7. Harvest what you can out of here, and then I have red romaine sitting under this. The red romaine is just has a slightly reddish color right now, so don't confuse it for the bib lettuce. But same kind of spacing in this bed, like probably 5 plants down the outside rows, and then we'll do one in the middle offset.